You got to be able to make good decisions. You got to be able to catch the dang ball as a punt returner. Kick return balls, kickoffs are a lot easier to catch than punt return punts. So hopefully we've made some good skill growth in that, But yeah, we've got a handful of guys that will just kind of let it shake out a little bit. You'll see them back there in practice, and pretty soon you'll see that number decrease. We'll go from 5 to 3 probably in about a week.
Coach, what can be said just about the acclimation of the special teams group and the players and their growth from the beginning of spring to this point?
That's interesting because we just had that conversation I did with my young guy. Just where we're growing, the culture in the room, and this when I first came here in spring, it was like, who's this guy? I really think that the guys have worked hard to learn kind of our way and the way we want to work and how we want to approach things. And so, I've been really pleased with that growth in spring, and we'll just have to get into fall and, again, man, ramp it up.
Yeah, with the season looming, Coach Frost talked about maintaining a sense of urgency, but also balancing it with patience. How difficult is that challenge on a day-to-day basis for you guys?
Well, I think it's, I think he's right. There is a sense there's a difference between urgency and panic. And having a sense of urgency is just going about your business and working at a pace that you think is the best pace for you to grow and continue to push that growth. Not go too slow, not go too fast, patience comes with patience. To me, is understanding what that pace is, and being able to see and there's times where you've got this great plan and I've got this install plan and there's this great 3-week calendar of install, and probably somewhere around day 6, day 7, there's going to be a day that's going to be like, no, we need to go back to this before we go on to that, and we'll adjust. That's why I write a lot of things in pencil, and I got a big eraser. But that's finding that pace, right? That we're maximizing our growth, but we're also understanding that, hey, being realistic about, are we growing where we need to go?
Yeah.
And making sure we stay on, because look, the path isn't, like I tell the guys, man, the path isn't straight. There's a lot of curves in the road, and the ability to navigate the curves in the road separates the average from the guys that can really push and go on and fight for greatness, right? Because you navigate the curves, and with that sometimes means you got to slow down so you don't go off the road.
You've accumulated a wealth of experience, and you've been at a lot of different places. What about UCF, especially at this point in your career, was so enticing to you, and how excited are you to truly get going with this group?
I'm excited to get going with this group. Anytime you have a chance to, the excitement here was a lot of different things. A really good friend of mine is a running back coach of the Rams, Ron Gould. Ron knew Scott from Coach Frost's time, with the Rams. And, he spoke very highly of Coach Frost, so that was my intro to Coach Frost. The interest in coming in and being a part of taking a young program and trying to build this program into a Big 12 champion, and to have that opportunity to come in on the ground floor and basically reestablish and grow a culture in the room and take a bunch of players and just on that journey, for me, is really cool. There's a lot of things, like I said, you said it, and I've been in a lot of places, I've done a lot of things. I've worked with, like we've talked about, a lot of good guys and stuff like that, but the idea to come here on the ground floor and one more time try to take a group where it hasn't been is enticing. And, you always want to work with good people, and you want to work for good people. And, everything I knew coming in, about Coach Frost told me that I was going to be working for a good dude. And if you're working for a good guy, then he's going to hire good guys. And, and so now I've had a chance, since January to get to know this group of coaches. This is the defensive coaches here, but the offensive coaches, it's a great group of guys. And, that's so, I like that. And that's the fun in it. Is to see if we can really build something special, and it's a challenge, but that's, man, if you're in this business, you got to love the challenge. So.
Coach Frost talked about, coming into fall camp with a blank slate. You came into this job with pretty much a blank slate, all new specialists on this staff so far. What did you look for in the transfer portal and through high school recruiting to basically assemble a new special team unit from scratch?
Yeah, so what I was looking for, positionally, when you looked at I talked a little bit about was a blend of veteran experience with youth. Okay, and so when you look at the snapping position for us, we're different. We're not a shield punt team. We ask our snapper to protect. So you're looking for an athletic snapper. You're looking for some size, but you want him to have the ability so from a physical standpoint, you've got this is what I'm looking for. We picked up experience in the portal with Dalton Riggs. We picked up youth with Rockland Kelly. Both guys, physically throw a good ball. Both are good sized kids. Both are 230 plus. Both of them can protect. They run decent for a long snapper. Place kicking wise, the ability to bring in a guy with game experience, guy that's lined up and kicked a bunch of field goals in his career, that was a high percentage make guy that I thought was really repeatable. That was the thing I was looking for, and that Noe fit that bill. So we were able to go out and get Noe, who I think was one of the top transfer portal kickers in the country in the portal this year. And then, we back him up with a kid that I had actually seen when I was at Rice and had looked at a couple times and seen him live, Noah McHugh. And Noah doesn't have right now the range or leg strength maybe that Noah has, but incredible work ethic, nice stroke. As he gets bigger and stronger, his range will grow. My challenge for him right now is be great from 50 and in. If you're going to be the guy, or if something was, if he was the most accurate guy, he'd be the guy. But 90% of your kicks take place from inside of 50 yards. So be great there first, right? If I'm, we talk about this. I have to be perfect from 40 and in. I desire to be perfect from 50 and in. 49 to 0, man, that's got to be a make, right? That's got to be a make. And so how we're going to work with Noah is we're going to build Noah into the best 50 and in guy in America. I'm not going to ask him to do something that maybe doesn't fit him yet. The 60-yard game winner's not his bag right now, right? He might be a 53 and in to win it guy, but can he be great from 50 and in? That's how he helps us be in a position to compete. Noe, that doesn't change for him either. He needs to be that too. But the one thing he does have is he does have the strength to back it up. Hey, it's a 58-yarder to win the game. Do you feel good about trotting that guy out there because he gives you a realistic shot at making that kick? Yeah. All right. It's never wrong to have that guy too. And that's what Noe brings to the party. Not only is he an accurate kicker inside of 50, but he brings range.
Have you encountered any sort of situation? I mean, maybe not to the extremes of changing over basically an entire room between semesters, but to have that sort of turnover in the specialist group is something you've encountered before?
Well, I would tell you this: anytime I've come new to a place, it's a new group. So right. So it's a new group now. This was, and you understand the nature of the game today has allowed that to happen. Where, in times before you've got to a place and it's been like, hey, this is who you got. Now they're all new to you, but this is who you have. We had a chance to evaluate. We had, obviously last year's punter went in the portal before we ever got here, right? He was gone. We had a chance to the one long snapper graduated, Gage graduated, so he was gone. There was a snapper here. We wanted to bring in competition, brought in Dalton. He decided to leave. Okay, so now we got to bring in a second snapper, and that's where we bring in the young guy, Rockland. We evaluated the 3 guys in the program that were here, which is the beauty of spring ball, is getting a chance to evaluate those guys and see where they were at based on, is this, what's the best group that we can put together to help us compete for championships. So felt like that this 6 guys are that group, and is it different? I mean, obviously I know them all, but we haven't had a chance to go out on the field very much together, right? So there'll be a get to know each other period.
Dalton seemed to have made a pretty big impression on the team when he got introduced. He ended up just jumping up and doing the splits in front of the team.
Yes.
To introduce himself. Has he really kind of emerged? It seems like personality there. Has he really seemed to emerge as a team leader for you, or does he have that potential to do that?
I think he has potential to lead. I think he's, I think there's a difference between being well liked and leading. And he's working towards being a leader. I think his work, in the summer, sounds like it's been really strong, and so players are going to look at that, right? And that gives him a chance. He's a likable dude. He's got a great personality. If you bring that with work ethic and the ability to then hold your teammates accountable, if you can do all that, then yeah, you got a chance to be a leader. And I think he has a chance to be a leader. I think time will tell, and time will allow that to continue to grow.
What do you want to see from your guys in camp between now and week 1?
What I want to see is the magic C word is consistency, right? I mean, we want to be there's certain minimum acceptable goals we want as we work forward. As far as what we want to see, as far as our makes on field goals, our punts, and those kind of things. But I want to see them. I want to see them compete. I want to see if we can get to a level of consistency that's going to allow us to do the job that we need to do, which is to help this team win. And so yeah, I mean that's the biggest. Just growing as a group, growing as a unit, getting comfortable, and finding out, hey, snap, hold, kick. Who's that? What's that? What's that combination going to be? Put your kicker in the best position to make kicks with a snapper that's going to put the ball where it needs to be, a holder that's going to get it down. So developing that chemistry and that work, and those guys have been working all summer long at that chemistry. Now we get to see it now in a different light, right? It's a little different, like hanging out in the summertime together, shirts off, kicking, nobody rushing. Life's easy, life's good, right? Now all of a sudden we're going to put a rush unit out there. You're going to put this out there. There's other components that come into play, and so can they be that guy now with all that going on? So what I want to see is that can that guy be 80% or better as a field goal kicker with a rush, right? With all the different things that affect his environment, So can we get a punter that's going to punt the ball directionally with good hang time and a hang time that's going to match distance, and help us?
You mentioned during the spring that you had kind of a board already in place for
yes.